Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Avatar. This one's a special one as it's our final episode covering Avatar the High Ground. Little bit bittersweet. So, hi to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. But of course, Drew, how are you, man?
Doing good, Jerry, and this shouldn't be our final episode because we will cover Volume 2 at some point, right?
You're right. So it's only the final episode in terms of the timeline of the story, but we will backtrack eventually and cover volume 2 that we weren't able to at the moment. But yeah, hello to everybody. After Child, Brianna Brown, Anamnesis, just everybody that's here. Thank you so much. And but yeah, how are you guys doing today? Have you guys seen some of the reactions? We'll cover some of those later in the episode. First, we're gonna get through the comic, but it's an exciting day. And Drew wasn't here with me earlier when I streamed earlier today, so Drew, is pretty exciting to know that the movie has finally been seen by people. It's officially out there in some way.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I didn't really get to follow along too much today. Like, I hopped on and watched your stream as much as I could, which was just a few minutes. But yeah, man, trying to catch up after work, looking at all the pictures, just looked like it was a lot of fun today. And plus the fact they all got to see the movie, it's exciting stuff.
Exactly, but just a few more days for all of us to finally see it. And man, I've been on this journey just for months here on YouTube. And even then, it already seems like it's been quite a journey. But, that doesn't count all the years that we've all been waiting. So it's exciting. But before we see the movie, we have to finish this comic so we know exactly what happens right in the lead up to it. So let's start breaking this down tonight. Let's start going through the comic. So without further ado, I'll start bringing up the first slide. And if everybody recalls, we how did it end? It ended the Sully family was kind of still running through the forest. You still had the RDA after them, and we saw the hounds. They had new things like the mechanical hounds, and then at the very end, I believe we got a little bit of help from some familiar characters from Avatar 1, right?
Yes, we did. Looked like some Oloactons came in to help. Well, I guess they weren't all, but we did see Ikani for one,
Yep.
and we saw Aquay come in, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, those were the two. Yeah. So that's where we're going to pick up, and we'll just continue till we get to the end of the story. So, all right, let me bring up the first slide here. All right, so we start. It's basically the continuation of the Oloectons that came in to kind of help them out. So the top panel, we got the fires screwing up my IR, which I'm assuming it's infrared. I can't see Jack out there. And then we see a bunch of arrows flying, hitting a bunch of the soldiers. Like we were saying, these, scale suits, potentially very dangerous, very fast and nimble, but like that didn't offer much protection. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword there. And then, one of them notices that one of their ships or planes are taken down. Uses some colorful language. Going right towards them, jumps out of the way. Big explosion. Kadoom. The same colorful language once again.
Boy, they're not holding back on the language tonight.
And then I think he just tears that grass or something? He
It
rips
looks
that
that way. He's angry. That's how
uh,
you know he's
he's
angry.
angry. Start ripping the grass off the floor. All right, so we'll continue here. So we got one of the Navi with the huge rock. I believe we saw some of that technique in the last episode as well, but didn't really seem to do much damage. And then it looks like he sadly gets taken down.
It's kind of interesting. I'd like to know what's behind the rocks this time versus, bow and arrow or even like a spear or something. It's kind of interesting. They seem to all be throwing rocks.
Yeah. A new technique they try to master, but so we got him attempting
that shirt too,
different.
By the way.
What was that?
I have that shirt too, by the way.
Oh, the one that they're wearing right there. Wow, that's sweet. You're like got it at Pandora, the World of Avatar.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Shopdisney.com. So attempting to break it. This time actually goes, it looks like they're on the top left to the propeller and stuff. So this one works. Kind of does a cool jump. Trying to jump back onto the Ikran. You got more of them shooting the bow and arrows down there at the bottom. Oh, once again, the art is pretty fantastic in this one. Like I like that these panels right here are pretty awesome. And wow, they got some gruesome deaths right here with the soldiers on the scale suits. One of them's like on the brink of it there on the right.
Loving the colorful Ikran again as well that we've mentioned throughout this book.
Sure. Exactly. A lot of these seem to be the same similar base color here, but still they're pretty awesome. And the cool shot right here of all the action going on. See a different ships, multiple Ikrans. It reminds me of like one of those shots from the ending battle of the first movie. So that looks pretty exciting right there. So there we go. Catch back up with the Sully family as they continue to run away. And here at the blue boxes, once again, these are the basically the monologue of Jake. So he says, "Thank God for the cavalry." So for the backup that they got. This one here is awesome. So we have awesome, great panel there on the top, and we have that waterfall coming down. Then you get on the bottom left, you get that scale suit, and you actually get a few of them there. And then they actually take some arrows. But I love this section right here, where you see that basically what it was the Navi are right there behind the waterfall shooting at him. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
That is. Man, this third section of Volume 3 has really cranked up the violence.
It really has. And here we see the two Navi that were behind the waterfall. Excellent little plan right there. And then I believe, is that Jake with those markings, or was that Netayam? I think that was Netayam, right? I believe that's
Jake. I think that's Jake.
Honestly, I don't even remember which one was wearing these type of markings. If anybody in the chat remembers, let us know. So for now, we'll just continue but they do say get to the beanstalk. Ming will pick us up. So they're looking to get to higher ground there to be picked up by Ming. I believe is the pilot that was gonna pick them up in the, I believe it was a Samson helicopter. But here we go. They begin to get shot at. The pilot of that one says, say goodnight. And I think you're right. I think it is Jake. And he tells Tsireya to close your eyes, baby. Oh, wait. Husband, and then she's looking away. So maybe that wasn't at the end then? I don't know.
The previous page, or
No, right here, because it looks like Neytiri says husband, but she's looking, unless oh no, she's just letting him know, like, husband, look, right? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
This is some odd art on this panel or this page.
Why is that?
I don't know. The faces are just kind of strange looking.
That one on the right, that's the kind of face that Drew does all the time. All right, here we go. So we get Devil Dog. This is Rogue 2. Cover your ears, folks. And then, so it looks like we got like a Valkyrie shuttle here, right? Or
yeah, it came in with the shuttle. Not even a Samson.
jeez. Sorry, guys. I will admit, for me, this is like I'm reading it live with all of you, so I hadn't previously read this. So, and then it looks like the backup for Jake. It's gonna look to be shooting at the Samson there that was about to fire on the Sully family. So they take him down. So yeah, backup actually arrived in the Valkyrie shuttle. And I believe Ming says, sorry I'm late. I believe that's Ming. Let's get you on board. And then Neytiri says, Jake. We got some more scale suits coming through the forest. They're already firing. Everybody has to take cover. Jake says, a little help here, Ming. Says, I'm trying. And once again, some of the cavalry comes in, starting to help them out.
Love seeing the skull suit in that Ikran's mouth. That's awesome.
Jeez. It once again shows you how big even just the Ikran are.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes
we
that
forget
skull
how
suit look tiny.
Exactly. And it's because, the Navi themselves are like, so tall, we forget. In my head, I'm like, oh, their proportions to the Ikran, but a human's proportion to the Ikran is, the difference is a lot more vast. So that's awesome to see right there. There we go. It says, go kids, jump. And hurry up, we got incoming. So they try to jump on board. So it looks like they're all getting on. Then Spider says, Kiri, come on. And Kiri looks like she's about to not make it. Spider reaches out. So they get Kiri. But another one comes in. It looks like it's firing at Neytiri and Jake, I believe. Wow, the tail there is a little crazy right there. Oh, I'm like, whoa, jeez. And the guys are going to get a bonus for this. But here we go. The guy who finally was able to afford a babysitter shows up, 28 kids at home, and he's like, my favorite baby is this one right here. And then the other pilot's like, crap.
Oh, Norm.
Norm to the rescue, guys. At point blank. At least that's what it looks like from this panel's perspective.
It does, yeah.
And then Jake says, Ming, hit it. They also still have those two gunners that back there for them. And yep, that one's completely destroyed. You get this great shot of the Valkyrie shuttle now, like, you know, flying over the water, parting the little waves right there. Norm's in that other one. Norm the hero, man. All right, the Valkyrie shuttle's flying up there towards the floating mountains again. Soldier says, Christ. Alpha 2, sound off. Alpha 3, you there? Anybody on the frequency, sound off. And then he just shows up. You see everybody, like Drew was saying, like the violence really got kicked up. Everybody right there is just massacred. And then it looks like, I believe they're at the bottom. Can you tell exactly what's happening there?
No, I can't tell if it's just like representing everything being destroyed or what. It's kind of odd art for sure. I don't know if that's just like the fire around him. Because it doesn't look like he's actually shooting or anything himself. I think he's just super frustrated seeing everybody he was out there with dead and the fire burning, all their stuff destroyed.
Yeah. All right, so we'll just attribute that for now, him just kind of freaking out. And then I believe this is, I don't know if that's supposed to be General Ardmore, but they say Gunrunner section, Iron Sky, hit that shuttle, shoot it down. So we have some other ones closing in on the Valkyrie shuttle, attempting to shoot it down. We got some missiles launched towards it. Ming says, missiles in the air. And hang on tight, I'm hitting the mains. As we see the Sully family there in the back. Try and do those evasive maneuvers. I think you can kind of see the missiles kind of like twirling themselves. And God, everybody in the back is going all over the place. Here we go, same situation. I think just trying to go higher and higher. That's a beautiful shot there of the floating mountains right there within the clouds, and then Polyphemus there in the background. That looks great.
It is. I'm excited to get this book in hand and actually look at the art. Nothing beats having it on a page.
Yeah. So here we go. And looks like it worked. Actually, no, it didn't work. It looks like they managed to actually hit the back of the craft or the Valkyrie shuttle. Auto cutoff on the mains. Number 2 and 3 lift engines are out. So we're going down. Awesome look at like lightning there in out of those clouds right there. You got the Sully family. It's good to see Spider there. So Jake comes in, what's it look like? I've got 2 lift engines out. We can't hover. As long as we're moving forward, we're flying. But we can't land. Not without a runway. We can't land at high camp. Give me something, Ming. Jesus, I've got my whole family on board. I can ditch in the ocean. That's it. That's what I've got. So here we see the storm raging over the ocean. Valkyrie shuttles coming in. Ming says it's too rough. I got to find flat water, maybe in the lee of these islands. And Jake says, "Do it." And he's heading there to the weapons rack. He's like, "Where's the biggest gun?" Loads up. Okay, we need to focus, people. We're gonna have a hard landing in water. Got to start teasing the way of water,
Definitely feels that way, doesn't
it? What do Solis do? We stick together. That's right, NetAM. You'll carry the first aid kit. Loak, hold on to this emergency beacon. Don't lose it. Everyone will wear chem lights. It's dark out there. If we can't hear you, we can still spot you. Everybody strapped in. Pull them tight. Brace positions. Got one shot at this. There we see the Valkyrie shuttle.
Yeah, that's some rough water.
Yeah, that's a tough storm right there. And just some great shots of the Valkyrie shuttle, and then that huge wave, literally, as it says, just like ripping into the Valkyrie shuttle. Then it hits kawam. I mean, this is already like very reminiscent of those scenes where we've seen kind of like Neytiri in the teasers and stuff for the Way of Water, where like the place is flooding. It's already like reminds me of
with Tulkun.
Yeah, exactly. So here they are. It looks like they're upside down. Water's flooding in. So the whole family's there, just upside down. Like Jake is the first one to go down. He says, "Are you okay?" to Neytiri. "When we are free of this place," she says. "We're upside down. Top hatch is no good. We've got to go forward. This way." And then NetAM says, "Come on, little brother." And looks like Jake says, "Okay, plan B."
So I'm curious who was floating dead there. Was that one of the gunners or was that one of like the 2 pilots?
I don't think it was that. I think that has to be the gunners because they were the ones wearing masks, where I don't think the 2 pilots were wearing masks. At least I don't think
I guess
so.
I'm assuming they're dead.
Yeah, so that's kind of I guess they didn't make it out. And I believe that's Neytiri saying, "All Mother, help us." And then Jake says, "She just did, babe. This way, let's go." And I believe that's Tsireya that says, "Dada, I'm scared." "You're okay, baby girl. Everything's going to be okay." As he grabs her arm and starts leading them through. So there we see that Kiri and Spider underwater. Kiri doesn't look like she's doing very well. And they notice Kiri. Where is Kiri? Kiri. So it looks like Spider kind of saved her right there. And they've been sharing that, great relationship this whole story. So it makes sense that they kind of really look out for each other. So here we go. They pop the top hatch. They start getting out. We gotta move, swim, go, go. So they're all going towards this platform there. Where's your brother? What? He was right behind me. And I believe it's Netayam that he was talking to, so Loak is the one that's kind of now down there in the water.
Which is a super cool frame.
Yeah. They're yelling, Loak, Loak, and we see once again like the great looking lightning there in the background. He kind of comes to down there underneath the water. They let out that flare. Kind of looks like the freaking original Star Wars poster right there.
I was thinking He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
Oh, there you go.
You're exactly right.
So there we go. Oh yeah, because he's using the beacon that Jake had given him earlier. So they're like, there he is. Dad, I held on to it. I've got you, son. So now we do have the two pilots here. You guys got a rope or something? I'm not the best swimmer. Something hit my leg. Swimming, move. And we see this what looks sort of like this huge shark fin breaching the water. And there we go. We get this awesome shot of what looks to be this one's the Nalusa, right?
I believe so. I still get them confused.
Yeah. I don't think it's the Akula, but man, look right there in the mouth area. Somebody, I think it's the other pilot, so not Ming, but the other pilot. It doesn't look like they made it. Oh wait, or was it? Oh no, yeah, no. It's the other one because Ming's over here on the platform. So he starts shooting it. Ming makes it to the platform, but the other pilot doesn't. So he says, "I got you, Ming." "Oh, Jake, I don't feel so good." And here we go. This is the very end. Great Mother, protect us. It's Norm. The beacon worked, and we get the final closing thoughts from Jake for the high ground. I thought that as a warrior, the bonds of love make you weaker, but this family is my strength. It's my fortress. Ooh. This is the beginning of the time of great sorrow. Whatever this invasion brings, we will face it together. The end. As Norm arrives to save the day once again and collect the Sully family.
Well, that was interesting.
Was it a little anticlimactic for you or something?
A little bit, yeah.
What do you all think in the chat? What did you guys think? Who's clapping? That was me. I clapped a little bit. Hey, those ending lines were pretty dope. And it's like, he said the line.
Man, I was just waiting for the Metkayina to swoop in there and save him there at the end.
Right?
But
kind of weird that last... Yeah.
It makes sense that that's not what happens, but...
Exactly. Because it does look like to get to the Metkayina, it's a bit of a journey for them. But, the oceans in general should house some of these other creatures regardless, But yeah, there it is, guys. That was Avatar the High Ground. Of course, we completely missed a whole middle section of the story. So we just got the bookends. Exactly. This whole last third of the story was just one big set piece. Literally, basically, that's how... So now I can see how this played out then. Because you know how we were talking about before, we're like, wow, I can't believe, this entire, 3 volumes were just going to be one movie. Actually, this played really fast when you really think about it. This whole last volume, this was just like an epic third act of a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of crazy that what was the original Avatar 2 script became just, a minute of movie time? Or between minutes 4 and 5?
Exactly. Yeah, because we covered that last time that up to basically the events we read right now just happened between minute 4 and 5 of Avatar the High Ground, because there's going to be a year time skip right there basically. So yeah. Whew. So let's see what people are saying in the chat. The first half of the art was phenomenal. It seems to have switched. Yeah, the second half of this volume switched. Afton Child says it was amazing. I can't wait to see volume 2. Yeah, I'm very curious to see, because you know how the first one was very story driven. I'm assuming, even though they were going to fight the RDA, I'm assuming we still would have gotten some more pieces of vital information. So, it sucks that we don't get the full complete story before we see Avatar: The Way of Water, but we'll come back to it. And that just has me curious of, what little pieces of information did we miss? Because honestly, this entire volume from beginning to end was just a giant set piece. It was mainly, them breaking out from the Sully kids breaking out, and their entire just run through the forest all the way until they, what we covered in this section today, right? So,
yeah, and especially what we read today, or what you read today. I mean, the third part of volume 3, like, wow, like nothing but action. really nothing going very good for the Sullys. They needed quite a bit of help to get out of there, escape that, but nice to see that they all got out, fine, which we kind of knew since we've seen the trailer, so we know nobody's going to die or anything, but at the same time, it seemed like there was some real risk there.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I liked it. We got a ton of information in Volume 1. I wonder what we're missing from 2. But yeah, the 3 would have played out a lot better, most likely, visually as part of like a movie. I'm sure it'll, because it just kind of reads, as a comic, you want sometimes a little more substance than just action beat, action beat, action beat. So, but yeah, regardless, I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too. I'm glad a watcher or listener was kind enough to send that to us, because without that, we would still just have nothing but Volume 1. So I'm glad we were able to at least get through Volume 3 before the movie's out.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and thank you once again for the listener that actually sent this in order for us to cover this. It was that was awfully kind of them. R.I.P. the 3 good humans back there. Christina says Jake calling Neytiri baby girl. My heart. Yeah. Adam Nisa says seems a bit anticlimactic. No resolution of the climax, but it's not a deal breaker. Yeah, I guess so, because at the end of the day, I guess it makes sense that no real big battle happens yet. So it kind of makes more sense that it was more about them running away. And then it seems that's where we're kind of going to pick up in The Way of Water, where there still have remained, trying to run away in a sense and just remain hidden from the RDA. And of course, we even got through the end of this volume and no recoms, no hints of the recoms yet. Maybe Volume 2 kind of has that hint in there, but none in this volume.
I did think something more impactful would be kind of lurking at the very end of the story, but definitely wasn't the case. But at the same time, I still enjoyed it. Still glad to have read it, but yeah, I thought we'd get something there at the end that really tied into the movie. Like you mentioned, maybe the recoms show up or just something kind of out of the blue like that. But I was surprised it was kind of as cut and paste as it was.
Yeah, especially if this is the same ending, it was gonna have the entire time. Kind of glad that it didn't end up being, the movie that we did get. I'm glad we still get to experience the story in this way. But yeah, because I feel the ending is going to be much more impactful in the actual movie itself.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I'm kind of withholding judgment too. Like you said, we haven't read the middle part. We haven't, we're still missing a third of the story. So I find the end of this maybe just a hair disappointing, just because, like I said, it just kind of felt a little bit bland. But um, I'm withholding judgment on that until I read Volume 2.
Yeah, exactly. I get it. I get it. I mean, but hey, now we got through the high ground. You guys experienced at least, Volume 1 and 3. So you now know what happens in that 1 minute, aside from, the events of Volume 2. But for the most part, we know what happens in that minute. Now, when we go see the movie, where they have like a year time skip, now we know where things kind of pick up a little bit. So, yeah. And obviously, today, the movie was shown at the world premiere in London. So I do have some of those reviews kind of compiled. If you guys wanted to take a look at them. So I don't think Drew has even read any of these, so it'd still be a first for him as well.
Yep, I haven't read any yet. So, like you said, this will be a first for me.
All right, so I'll start with the first slide here. And these two are from Perry Nemiroff. And we get Avatar The Way of Water is pretty incredible. I had faith James Cameron would raise the bar with the effects, but these visuals are mind blowing. One stunning frame after the next. But the thing I dug most is how the technical feats always feel in service of character and world building. As for the story, it's a lot of movie. It's a lot of movie. I'm eager for a second viewing to revisit some details, but on first watch, it's a mighty effective exploration of community and family dynamics. Returning cast is great, but the newcomers are major standouts, particularly Britton Dalton as Loak. And that's kind of great to hear, like across the board. Honestly, like that's what I kind of wanted. Like obviously the visual spectacle, but to be in service of a story that, is about the characters, about the world building. And going in, Loak is currently like one of my favorite or most intriguing elements that I'm excited to check out. So to hear that he's a standout, that's great to hear for me.
Yeah, I'm glad to read that. Which kind of brings up the point. Where is he at? Has anybody heard? Because I haven't seen him doing any of the premiere stuff. The last few things where we've seen him, like on the Christmas special, I haven't seen him there or at Pandora. So I'm just kind of curious if he's just busy on another movie or school, or if
Oh, they
anybody
addressed
knows.
that.
Oh, did they?
He addressed. Yeah, James Cameron was asked that, I believe, yesterday during the In Conversation with James Cameron event held by Empire Magazine, and he answered that what it was is he basically has chosen not to participate only because the kids were never contractually obligated to participate in the press. Like,
Oh, okay.
most actors are always contractually obligated to do it. But
Uh-huh.
because, especially, you got to think, 5 years ago, they really were kids. Like, Trinity Bliss was like 7 or 8 years old. So that's good that they didn't actually force this upon them in the contract. And he seems to be one of the only ones that really, I guess he explained it that he's just more of a reserved person. So it's nothing like any bad blood or anything. It's just, he's more of a, keep to himself type of guy. So, but at least, I've said it in the past stream, we still get to enjoy the character. And at least from right here, it sounds like, he does a great job. So that's what matters the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good for him for deciding that he didn't want to and acting on that. Because I'm sure that's a lot of pressure, seeing everybody you worked with up there and at everything, and you're the only one left out. But I'm glad it was by choice, and there's nothing more to it than that.
Yeah. Yeah, at least they finally addressed it. So here we'll have our second little batch. We have Joseph who says, I'm almost convinced James Cameron shot Avatar The Way of Water on another planet. The film is absolutely stunning and immersive. It's long, but I was completely engaged all the way through, much like Avatar 13 years ago. This film is a cinematic achievement and a must-see event. And then we get from What's on Disney Plus. He said, Avatar The Way of Water is the most beautiful film I've ever seen. It is an experience that needs to be seen on the big screen and in 3D. I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to watch it again. It's a masterpiece in terms of technical wizardry, easily my favorite film of the year. So another two glowing reviews. I mean, honestly, I think the visuals, we kind of like can already tell by the TV spots and the trailers. The visuals were not going to be the problem, but the fact that it's a must see event, it's what we've been saying. This is going to be an experience. It's not just like a regular film. So I really do hope people go check it out, at least for the experience aspect.
Hey, and I'm glad that Joseph said that even though it's long, because I mean, it is a long film, he was engaged all the way through. That's great because I mean everybody in here is a hardcore Avatar fan. I'm going to assume, but we've got to be able to keep the attention of just regular moviegoers as well. So um, that's good to hear. I'm glad that it's engaging and people aren't going to get bored for 30 minutes of it and kind of lose interest. So far, man, great reviews.
Exactly.
Love what I hear so far, man. It's exciting.
Let's see. We get Sean O'Connell. Never bet against Jim Cameron. His Avatar: The Way of Water surpasses the original on every level. Incredible visuals, but a much more emotional connection to the characters and story. The final hour is Cameron flexing every muscle, reminding blockbuster filmmakers how it's done. And then Josh Horowitz says James Cameron once again shows filmmakers how it's done. I've said it 1,000 times, never doubt him. Avatar: The Way of Water is how you do epic blockbustering, emotional, visceral, and as big as movies get. And that's great to hear, man. Both of them hitting on that emotional aspect. I know we've heard Cameron himself, cast and crew say it, but to actually have it be a standout for, right now, just kind of like press and critics, but still it be an element that does come up. I love it because I love that now, we're getting more engagement, at least so far it sounds like with the characters and the emotions that come in it. So that's exciting to hear for me.
And I love that Sean said the final hour is Cameron flexing every muscle. On an entire hour, like that's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens.
So, geez, it sounds like the whole third act final battle type thing is probably like an hour long. That's insane, bro.
It is. That's very insane.
And it's very exciting because the final battle to the first movie and just the final third act to that is still like it's up there as probably my favorite, third act of any movie, especially like blockbuster movies. So I've been really intrigued to see if he tops that because I mean, just looking back, like that battle itself was amazing. I love like huge movie battles. This was at a time when you had stuff like, the Lord of the Rings. You kind of just had all these movies that kept kind of like upping the ante on like final battles. So it's kind of fallen off recently a little bit. But yeah, it's great to hear that this final hour is going to be pretty insane. And then just a few more. We have Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah, never bet against James Cameron. Trying to spare hyperbole, but I've never seen anything like this from a technical, visual standpoint. It's overwhelming, maybe too overwhelming. Sometimes I'd miss plot points because I'm staring at a Pandora fish.
Hey, I like that. And that will definitely be me.
Yeah, right? And that's why we got multiple viewings, bro. We're all good. Someone texted me, "What's the most visually impressive part of the movie?" And I responded, "The whole thing, honestly." It's so great to hear.
Man, that's exciting.
Nikki says, "I saw you, Avatar: The Way of Water." Oh, that's a nice play on it. If you think you've seen Avatar, think again. Only repeat from the OG is that never experience anything like it. Better than the first? Easily. The 3D water world and creatures are so surreal, it is downright moving. There's a major Titanic homage. And I think we've seen elements, sprinkled throughout like especially the TV spots. Kind of like that shot we mentioned before where they were kind of like holding onto the rail and the ship's kind of like, tilting.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we've seen Neytiri down there in that where that place is flooding. So
That's interesting. Man, these are quite the glowing reviews so far. Did you come across any that were negative at all?
yes. And the most negatives I saw were these two right here. So the first one says, so Avatar: The Way of Water, liked it, didn't love it. The good news is that 3D is good again, yay. And the action is pretty incredible, especially in the final act. So there we go with the final hour. But many of the storylines feel like they have to stop and start. And the high frame rate was a hit and miss for me. And
It's
then the other
not
one
too
that,
bad of a bad review right there.
right? And then the other one was The Way of Water is never ending visual spectacle. It's a better, more complex story than the first with solid emotion, but the characters could grow a bit more. It's definitely long, running on incredible visuals and techniques, which are 3D's best. So, not too negative, but I mean, these were kind of the most negative ones I came across. So,
Hey, that's good to see. I
yeah,
mean, I want to hear from the people who aren't in love with it, but neither one of them was really giving me, I guess, too much of a good reason that they didn't love it. I mean, not everybody's going to like every film, so they're obviously entitled to that opinion. But I'm not hearing anything like major flaws or anything like that. So that's great to hear.
exactly. And so far the little nitpicks that they did have are I mean, they, to them it could be a bigger deal. Like the frame rate, like to
Sure.
me, honestly, I didn't really even, some people even had that nitpick already with the remaster. Some were already saying it didn't work for them, but I don't know, because that one's it could be a very like technical thing in terms of, even that could just be down to the individual theaters, because I already know that some theaters aren't even gonna be able to play the high frame rate. Like if it's not an IMAX that is one like single laser, it's not gonna play the high frame rate. Because you could have an IMAX that's gonna be a dual laser, and it sounds better, but apparently I read it's not gonna be able to play the high frame rate, because if it plays
Hmm.
it, it's gonna only be able to play it at 2K resolution instead of 4K. So with IMAX, I know how everybody right away wants to say that's the best way to see it. I'm still telling you guys it's Dolby Cinema. How has Cameron been presenting this movie around the world? D23, Dolby Cinema. That's who he's partnering with now. Because right now, like, you really got to make sure your IMAX is like, a single laser, and it's not this and it's not that. I don't even have a laser IMAX in my state. So basically, all the IMAXs I would go to, yeah, I get the more, the 40% extra screen like on the top and the bottom, but you're not getting the full 4K image with the high frame rate, the 3D, the sound. So yeah, so these technical ones, I won't really, knock those against the movie themselves, because that could just be down to individual theaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is interesting too because I didn't realize that, but I mean, my theater may not even have the high frame rate.
Yeah, it's something like you have to really ask them. The only one I know, like all right off the bat, you'll get basically what he wanted to present to you. Of course, excluding the little extra portions of the screen. But other than that, if you go to a Dolby or something, you're getting the full package. You don't have to ask. You don't have to see like, oh, okay, well, is it this or that? So that's my first three showings are just Dolby, but I will, of course, I will do an IMAX just to kind of get that the full like the screen experience, from the extra aspect ratio. Um, but yeah, those are really the only two that I have here around me. I know there's even crazier formats. Like I showed a recent video I compiled with the Screen X that even gives you like those two extra screens on the side that give you exclusive footage that you're not going to see anywhere else. So
That was
yeah, there's
wild to
other.
see.
I know, because it's like what like, and they're not like 100% rendered to the same quality as the middle, because in a way they're kind of just meant to be, because they're gonna wrap around you a little bit. I think they said it's like 270 degrees. So they're more meant to be like on your peripheral vision while you're still just only looking at the middle screen. So but it's still adding elements and just it just makes it a fuller experience around your like, almost completely enveloping you in it. So I'm sure that would still be one I would go to if I had it near me. You know what I mean? That's a cool way to
Yeah, for sure.
experience it.
It's crazy that there's that much more footage that we won't see on a regular format.
Exactly. And just the very last ones here were by Eric Davis. I saved his for last because I felt he went more in depth. So he did a 3 tweet thread. He started with all the way to the left. Happy to say Avatar The Way of Water is phenomenal. Bigger, better, more emotional than Avatar. And here's that emotional again. The film is visually breathtaking, visceral, and incredibly engrossing. The story, the spectacle, the spirituality, the beauty. This is movie making and storytelling at its absolute finest. He continues, this is James Cameron leaning right into that Cameron playbook. There are Titanic vibes, True Lies vibes, Abyss vibes, Terminator 2 vibes. It is Cameron in top form, matching tremendous visuals with a very entertaining and emotional story that leaves you wanting more. Loved. I felt similar after Avatar The Way of Water than I did after Top Gun Maverick, in that it reminds you why we love movies and why we anticipate big spectacle on the big screen. When it lands on all levels, there's nothing sweeter. This one entertains big time. Truly a memorable ride. I thought this was the best, most articulate, little thread. That was kind of in a way, that's more than just a little social reaction. it's almost like a review, but just not in depth. Man, this is so exciting to hear, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that was basically a review, but without giving anything away. But man, love it. Like that guy couldn't be any more impressed. It didn't seem like. And I think what stood out the most, really, though, was just, he talked about it entertaining big time. Um, and because I'm looking at it not from what I'm wanting to see, more of what the general audience is going to want to see. And that's what we need. We
Yes.
need this movie to be entertaining, exciting, hold everybody's attention, and make them want to come back and watch it again and again at 3 hours a pop. So that's what we need for it to be successful, like extremely successful. And it sounds like it has that potential.
It really does. And I think I'm like I've said it before, like this is the perfect time. I know a lot of people say, this should have come out 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I will die on the hill where I say no. Because if it did, that's where I think we would not get the green light on 4 and 5. Because we're talking about the heyday. Like we got to admit, you're talking about the heyday of the MCU, Star Wars, the new Star Wars trilogy. Regardless of what the end product was on those, the anticipation and hype levels at the moment, they would have superseded Avatar coming back. You know what I mean? Those are two giant IPs. But right now it's the perfect time. Those are like in slumber. There's no Star Wars movie in the horizon. The one hasn't even been dated. MCU recently is kind of for people that that's why Maverick was just so successful. Like he says, it brings this big spectacle back to the screen. It kind of reminds you, that when they really hit, there's nothing better, like he said. So it's perfect, man. This is even for people that just want a visual escape. Honestly, we can already see that it's going to provide that. And for some people, that's enough. And for more people that want more of the story, like us, obviously, we're all about the lore and the story. It looks like it's even going to deliver on that part. I mean, who's to say? We still haven't seen it, but at least from everything I'm hearing, it's saying everything I wanted to hear. So I'm super excited. And I think it's the perfect time for this movie to, like you said, be that big entertainment for the masses that they've been wanting from the theaters in the past few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the type of movie that will force theaters, IMAX theaters to upgrade to where they can show um, the high frame rate going forward in the future. Kind of like before, where so many theaters had to upgrade just so they could show Avatar 1 properly in 3D. I mean, if this movie's successful, it's going to affect a lot more than just Avatar. It's going to affect all the movies that we see going forward in the future. And to me, that's good. That's good for everybody. Everybody wins off of that. So I really, really want to see it succeed for more reasons than just because I'm a huge Avatar fan.
Exactly, and I think it will. And Brianna Brown said something interesting. She said nobody's complaining about the runtime, and that's a great point because that was actually, a big talk of contention. A lot of people like, oh my god, it's being reported at 3 hours and 12 minutes. Cameron says that it's actually 3 hours and 2 minutes. And obviously the final 10 minutes are like credits and stuff. But still, you're getting a meaty 3 hour movie, and none of these, even the two that seemed the most negative in the batch, nobody's complaining about the runtime. It seems like it either flows pretty good, and just the fact that it's probably visually, just amazing from beginning to end, just makes it that much sweeter to take in.
That kind of goes back to that point. I can't remember his name, but he said that the last hour, he talked about how amazing it was. I mean, if you've been sitting for 2 hours watching a movie already, if the entire last hour is sucking you in, that's saying a lot right there.
Exactly. And that's probably the one that's going to be, hit those emotional beats right there. So it's probably going to be like a very exciting, very entertaining, but also probably gut-wrenching final hour. So that'll be crazy to see. And hey, we actually have Jay from Drinking in Pandora in the house. He says it's going to be good, bro. I really think so, man. I agree. I really think so. Let's see.
Jay, nice to see you here, bud. I'm a big fan of yours, so nice to see you drop in.
And Nisa says I've been a member of the 3 Billy Club for a while. Hey, you know what? I would say that there's everything is like on the table for it to do that. It's the perfect timing. It actually secured the China release. They reopened about 50% of the ones the cities and districts that were closed because of the lockdown. They just reopened those. So everything is looking right. And if with like these 3 tweets right here, especially if it hits on all these notes, I think this is going to take the world by storm yet again.
I think you're right. There's so many factors. It's hard to put a number on it. But man, wouldn't that be sweet if it hit 3 billion? I'd love it.
And I would love it, obviously. And then it'd just be kind of wild, man. It'd be wild to see it actually hit those numbers again. Like, even if it just comes close to the original's numbers, it's going to be wild to see. Like you said, it's going to create a shift. Like, it'll tell the world, like, everybody was like, this is going to fail. It's too late. I mean, we saw Top Gun came out 36 years later, and it doesn't matter. Like, once you're sitting down in the movie, and as long as it's captivating, time doesn't matter. The sequel can come almost 40 years later. It doesn't matter. And yeah, man, this is pretty incredible. And to see what those numbers would do to the industry, like what would that do? It would be a big shakeup, man. Because everybody thought right now, if there's any movies that would hit that again, obviously it'd be the superhero type movie and things like that. But to this one to come out of the gate again and be lightning in a bottle twice, that'd be incredible.
It also takes me back to, it's been a few years now, but when we were first learning, hey, we're going to get Avatar 2 and 3, and then they're talking about um, getting a third one and then a fourth one, and people were just, basically mocking it. Like, we can't even get an Avatar 2. Nobody cares. Nobody wants these sequels. And here we are a week and a half away, and everybody's just hyped for it. I'm hardly seeing any negativity. And it wasn't that long ago, and it was sustained for a long time that the general consensus was nobody wants these sequels. So it's awesome to see that change, that whole attitude change online.
Exactly. And for all those, and we got to think a big part of the generation that is probably the loudest or has been the loudest in all the hate and everything are people that probably didn't even experience the original in the theater. And it's something like no matter what we say, you can't convey that experience. You can't say, look, you had to experience it in the theater. Because now everything is consumed at home. Times are different. There's streaming taken over. So for a lot of people, they're like, if it doesn't work at home, then it doesn't work. But there are, some particular movies that are just really meant to be seen on the biggest screen possible in those ways. And that's the way to really get the full picture of it. You're getting like half the picture at home, especially when they don't even make 3D TVs anymore, man. I want another 3D TV. Mine broke and I can't watch my copy. I know you can get like projectors, but still, I'm a TV guy. I want more 3D TVs again. Gotcha, dang it.
Well, you raise a good point. Um, I totally forgot what I was going to say. But going on 3D TVs, again, that's kind of one of those things where James Cameron, if this movie's successful, he's going to push the limits on technology. You'll see him again. I mean, 3D hasn't really gone anywhere since Avatar, but it never quite got the legs, I don't think, that we were all hoping for. But again, he's going to inject that into movie making yet again. People are going to try to copy what he's doing, or at least get as close as possible. We're going to be able to buy 3D TVs again if this does really well. Um, Stuff like that is just that was remarkable. I think that was the most remarkable thing about Avatar. Even though everyone says it left no impact, it left a big impact. It changed all sorts of things. I mean, how many movies have been in 3D since Avatar? I don't know that I even saw one in 3D before Avatar. Maybe like one or two. And it was kind of just a silly gimmick that didn't even really work that well. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm so excited. Those reviews got me even more pumped.
And I know you had said you didn't really want to see them because to you they weren't really, that important. But like I said, sometimes they really do, hype you up. And obviously, opinions can change once it comes to the time that they actually have to write their full reviews and go and really get to go in depth. Obviously, not spoilerish, but just be able to articulate their thoughts without a, whatever character limit is on the tweets. It could seem like they changed a little bit, but from everything I'm seeing right now, those two most negative ones I could find honestly didn't deter my excitement at all. Like, really, their negatives weren't anything that I would consider negative. So at least for me, I'm 100% pumped and I can't wait. So are any of you in the chat, are you actually seeing this on the 14th? Because Drew and I are seeing it on the 15th. So like basically the midnight showings, even though now they start at like 3 p.m. the day before. But is anybody here from a country that actually gets it on the 14th? Either way, any final thoughts, Drew, as we kind of just wind down and about to sign off pretty soon? Any final thoughts on either the high ground or this just excited for Avatar 2? Anything?
Yeah, I'm excited that how much that we saw that like people were talking about the story and the story's even better. It was more character focused, which we've heard, that's supposed to be the case, but it's nice to hear that that actually resonated with people who've seen the movie now. Because kind of like what you said, even if the movie was just 3 hours of eye candy. For me, I would be fine with that. But to have good story, good character development, like I mean, that's just going to make it even better. So that's exciting to hear that the writing is hitting people, whereas last time I think it was a little bit more vanilla and it was kind of a complaint. But I think they really have worked on that and made that a focus. So I'm glad to hear that. I think it
Exactly.
needs that to truly succeed too. Needs to bring people in the character development and story.
Yeah, because to have that be the complaint, for a second time, that would really be the final nail in the coffin. So that worked for the first one. It was able to touch universally, like around the world. Uh, but yeah, hopefully this does it. Obviously, we haven't seen it, but it sounds like it has. And like he said, he wanted to make sure all four scripts were completely done. So everything's done. Nothing's gonna keep being added on a movie to movie basis. The story they want to tell is laid out, and I just can't wait to see it unfold. I didn't bring it up here. I did hear one more complaint from somebody. I forgot who it was, but their biggest complaint was that it felt like more of a stepping stone to the larger stories that we are going to see in like 3, 4, and 5. But that was their biggest complaint, that for them it seemed, and I didn't see that complaint anywhere else, so I thought it was pretty unique. They did say it felt like a stepping stone.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. But hey, that'll be one amazing stepping stone if there ever was one. So, and that would say, if something like this could just be the stepping stone, like what do these other movies in the saga have in store? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And if this one is a bit of a stepping stone, I'm okay with that because you are setting up potentially
Yeah,
three more
you
movies
do need to do
afterwards.
that. Exactly. Because it like we said, it's not like they're treating it on a movie by movie basis. Because that's what some franchises do, and that's where they fail. Right off the bat, they try to add those elements into either the first movie or whatever to tease the other ones, but they're not, they haven't really been fully written or fleshed out. But hey, like you said, this is the start of four more sequels, this one included. So it does have to serve as a bit of a stepping stone in some way. It does have to kind of tee it up to like, hey, this is what could potentially be coming after. Because if not, once again, you'd feel like I know they say that each movie is going to have its own like resolution, but at the end of the day, you still have to have something that kind of makes you excited to see it continue or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I agree. So, I mean, that would be great if, you know, sure, maybe this has a bit of a stepping stone compared to the other, but you've got to set up the story. And, I mean, look at Avatar 1. Two-thirds of that movie was just setting that story up because it's brand new IP. We didn't know any of the characters. It's a little bit slow at first, but that's all right. The payoff at the end was amazing. So even if Avatar 2 is the same way, I'm fine with that. I expect it to be a
Exactly.
little bit of that anyway, because, I mean, it has been 13 years, so you've got to bring people back up to speed. Not everybody's going to have seen Avatar or be super familiar with it. So I'm fine with that.
Exactly. And one of the last ones we'll answer here, Christina Garcia says, not having a story laid out was what screwed over the new Star Wars trilogy. That's exactly it. That is literally the one you can point to and be like, we do not want to be that. I was
No.
super excited. I honestly, I would admit, I loved episode 7. I was like so intrigued. I'm like, what's gonna happen next? But these years later, because even as you saw episode 8 and 9, you got that gut feeling they didn't have this story planned out. And now we really know officially, like years later, they didn't. There wasn't a fully mapped out trilogy. So, you want to talk about blindly spending millions upon millions of dollars. At least over here, yes, we got ridiculed delay after delay. But, the complete 4-story arc that they wanted to tell from this point forward is completely laid out. So, yeah, we won't have that mistake all over again. I was disappointed because I really was, I really did love episode 7, even though it had familiar beats to obviously the original movie, the original Star Wars movie, episode 4. But other than that, I was so excited just to be disappointed. So I'm glad that literally this is the antithesis to that, sorry. And is, they got all the time they needed, and now we're getting one every 2 years, man. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's exciting. And I mean, touching on Star Wars, like you said, episode 7, man, sometimes I forget how excited I was for that and how much I enjoyed it when I went to see it. And then for me, the episode 8 was the worst Star Wars thing I've ever watched. And that's what sucks because, the original Star Wars, you've got what we call A New Hope and then Empire Strikes Back. I mean, the second Star Wars movie is possibly, for many people, it's the best Star Wars movie. So it at least stayed the same quality, if not got even better. And so I'm hoping that's what we're seeing here with Avatar, not go from a really awesome movie to a steaming pile of crap like Star Wars did, but go from a really awesome movie to hopefully one that's even better. And from what these people that have seen it so far, it sounds like they do think it improves on the original movie. So that's exciting. Because I'm just going to assume they're not all like super Avatar fans.
Yeah, exactly. Not everybody's in our bubble, and there are just even critics and press that either didn't like the original or, they don't know everything we know. So yeah, just to see that still the majority, at least to me, it seems the majority of them left completely impressed, and a lot of them saying stuff like, this is like visually the best movie I've ever seen, not in terms of every piece of the puzzle, but at least visually, spectacle, epicness, and that's all you want. Is only the second movie. We still got 3 more to go. So obviously, you can't, put all your eggs in just one basket in the very first one, but it seems they still went pretty, they shot up for those floating mountains, man. They shot for the stars.
I love it because if the weak point to Avatar 1 was the story, and this one has a better story, I mean, visually, I'd say, again, it's going to wow everybody. So if you could put what's universally seen as a good story, a solid story with amazing visuals, I mean, that's going to do it right there. The rest will take care of itself.
Exactly. But I think that's it from us on this stream, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and appreciate that you guys went on this journey with us through Avatar: The High Ground, even though we missed a little section on it. We'll go back to that for a future stream. We'll come back to it, but we're just days away from the movie itself. We're gonna do our personal review. Hopefully, you guys will join us for that, which will be on the Friday. So what they call release date, because we're actually going to see it Thursday, and I think I do have a showing on Friday itself. But that night, if everything court plan, we'll kind of have a stream where we kind of hang out and we give our opinions on the movie after finally having seen it ourselves. And hopefully you guys will join us, and hopefully you guys also would have seen it by then, and we can all just finally discuss it. No more theories, no more, little breakdowns. Let's just finally see the damn thing, and kind of give our thoughts on it together. So, hope you guys join us back that one, and obviously many future installments of this to come. Next year we do start having some really exciting episodes. We don't really want to tease, too far ahead, but there's going to be some episodes you guys won't want to miss. We'll obviously completely fill you guys in on what. We just don't want to be some of those that tease things too far ahead of time. Right now, let's enjoy the movie, and yeah, let's just keep going on this journey together. Hopefully, everybody gets to enjoy the movie the week of release. Any final thoughts, Drew, as we kind of go off into the sunset with this Tulkun right here, this amazing shot?
I saw Aftonchild was asking this Friday or next Friday, so I just wanted to clarify that is next Friday, because we don't see it until next Thursday, the 15th.
Yeah.
And Christina was asking if we'd be able to discuss spoilery things in that stream. Yeah, after we see it,
yeah.
After it's out there for people to see, I mean, guys, the spoilers, everything's going to be a spoiler online. I mean, if it comes out on the 14th in some countries, I mean, we just have to recognize like everything out there is going to be spoilery. So if you haven't seen it, just not only protect yourself from us, but from anything out there. Like stay off socials, stay off the internet. Like once this comes out, man, people are going to be talking about it like crazy, and we are too. So yes, you will be able to discuss whatever you want in that stream. I don't know that we're going to sit there and spoil the whole movie for everyone or anything like that. We're just going to give a review. But yeah, we don't care what you guys talk about.
Exactly. I mean, we might be, really excited and touch on a really spoilery point or not, it just depends on how we are that particular night. But yeah, for sure. If you don't want spoilers, like if by the time that stream comes, which will be December 16th, so the day they advertise the movie releasing. But like we said, most of us will see it on the 15th because we have some Brianna Brown asking when we'll see it. So we're seeing it on the 15th on Thursday. I have a 3 p.m. showing that day, and I believe you have a 4 p.m. on Thursday?
I have a 3 p.m. as well, so I will be actually seeing it due to our time differences. I will be seeing it an hour before you, so we'll be seeing it at the same time, at least 2 of the 3 hours.
Yeah, so that'll be exciting, kind of getting out of there and just kind of texting each other. But yeah, the following day, on the proper release day, that night we'll do the stream and you guys can talk spoilers. If you haven't seen it by then, don't be a part of that stream because we will probably discuss major spoilers, and I'm sure the chat as well will discuss major spoilers. But yeah, guys, we're just days away. We made it after all these years and recently all these months of, you guys joining us here on this on YouTube and things like that. It feels kind of like the end of the journey, but at the same time, it's just the beginning. We have so many more movies to come. Big video games in the Avatar franchise to come. So there's going to be so many exciting things in the future. So thank you guys so much.
Even things like the visual dictionary that's about to come out, the art book. I mean, we could spend a couple of months just breaking all that down. So there's going to be a ton of fun content out there, new stuff. We're going to learn a bunch. And I really want to see it twice. I'd like to see it the 15th and the 16th before I do that stream because, I mean, on the 15th, I probably am going to be just overwhelmed and taking it all in. I'll be like the reviewer. My attention will be on a fish and I won't even be paying attention to what's going on. So I'll need to see at least a couple times or I'm going to miss so much. But yeah, thank you everyone. We love seeing you guys' interactions and just appreciate you, Jerry. This has been a fun ride, and really, guys, we're just getting started. So here in another week and a half, it's really going to kick off.
Exactly. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll try to always keep providing you some great entertainment. After the movie releases, we'll start to see if we can provide you guys some cool people to join us as well that can finally talk about the movie itself. Possibly maybe have been involved or not. So stay tuned for all of that. Have a great night or a great morning, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Later, guys.